Hey, it's Daniel. This is going to be a 90-minute yin yoga practice. Um, some props that would help if you have them. Two blocks, a blanket, and a bolster. So you can go ahead and grab those if you have them. Um, we'll start with some seated meditation. You want to sit comfortably in an upright position. I'm going to choose to sit on a block this way. You might sit in a cross-legged position or a kneeling position. Anything that's comfortable where your spine is relatively upright and you can sit relaxed and pay attention to your experience. When you've arrived in your comfortable seat, you might choose to soften your gaze or close your eyes. Maybe you feel like just keeping your eyes open today. Start to relax. And then notice what's coming up for you right now in this moment. Whatever you're experiencing for this practice, just let it be okay. Just notice it. There might be thoughts that come up or sounds, maybe sensations, could be smells or sights, emotions. Whatever's there, notice as it arises. Notice what it's like when it's there, and notice what it's like when it's not. So just noticing this process of moment-to-moment change in your experience, and just remaining interested in that and noticing that. And that could include your reaction to anything that comes up, as pleasant or unpleasant, or neither. Noticing the psychological self. Whatever's there, just noticing it, remaining interested in your experience and noticing the process. And as you notice, the content of your meditation changes moment to moment. That it's interconnected and changing. Whatever experience you're having, you can notice this if you pay attention. But as you notice that, see if you can shift your attention to the context. So it's like trying to shift your attention from the furniture in the room to the space in the room. So we're noticing as the content of our meditation changes moment to moment, that there's always awareness. So we notice a thought or a sensation, emotion arise in awareness, maybe a reaction, whatever comes up, and then shifting our attention from the sense object to awareness itself. Noticing that there is awareness before a thought arises, for example, while it's there, and then after it's gone. And noticing that awareness is the context in which experience is arising. But remaining interested in the experience that you're having at the same time. So not pushing anything away or grasping for anything, just remaining present with your experience and allowing it to unfold as it does. And you can notice there's a sense of freedom in that awareness is already receiving this moment, however it is. Even as your reactions may change moment to moment, maybe the experience is pleasant some moments or unpleasant other moments, or a mixture of both. But that's something that you notice, isn't it? And so shifting your attention to the context of awareness and noticing that awareness is already receiving this moment. remaining interested in your experience at the same time. Trying to keep the meditation going throughout the yin yoga practice as we come into the postures. So you want to keep some amount of attention on your body to keep yourself safe. As we do the posture work, you want some amount of stress on your tissue, but maybe slightly outside of your comfort zone is okay, is what we're looking for, but nothing extreme. You've always got permission, nothing painful, certainly. And you've always got permission to come out of the pose early or take a different pose or skip a pose if you need to. Just non-judgmentally observing our experience, noticing the moment-to-moment process of interconnected thoughts, sensations, sounds, emotions, etc. And noticing that awareness is the ground for experience. So for our first posture, we'll take tadpole pose. This is basically a wide knee child's pose, if you're familiar with that. I'm going to pad my knees. If you have a folded blanket, you can do that. I'm going to set mine down towards the bottom of my mat, my knees. Then I'll come into a tabletop position, hands and knees. However you want to get there. And my knees are here on the blanket. I'm going to open up my knees wide and bring my feet towards each other, any amount that's comfortable. You don't want any knee pain in this, so you should adjust your posture to avoid that if you need to. You can lower your hips towards your knees any amount. If you need, you can set a bolster between your heels and your hips. Then walk your hands forward. You can lower your head either onto a block, a bolster, or your mat. Stay relaxed and just notice the details of your experience. Noticing moment to moment changing sensation, any thoughts that come up, allowing all of it. Now, staying in your tadpole position, we'll take a variation wandering tadpole, walking your hands over to the left to bring your torso into lateral flexion, a tolerable amount, so it may be slightly outside of your comfort zone but not extreme, making sure that that targeted area of the side body is relaxed. So you can either rest your head here or you can just keep it upright. Noticing the effect that it has if you experiment with various options. You always have permission to do that. if there's any moments where you're resisting the experience in any way, um, just noticing that that is rising within awareness. In awareness, there's the capacity to receive even that. Walking back to center. Maybe just take a moment and enjoy the center position. And then when you're ready, we'll wander over to the right. I'm going to slide my bolster out of the way. Okay, coming back to center. Take a moment just to enjoy that. When you're ready, you can crawl forward a little bit, lifting your hips away from your knees. Bring your knees back underneath your hips if you had them out wide like me. And I'm going to slide my blanket out of the way, and we'll lower down onto our bellies. Take a couple breaths there. And what are you feeling here? So it'd be normal after coming out of a yin yoga posture, if it was somewhat intense, to have some sensation that persists after you come out of it, but it should go away within a minute or two. So as we rest between poses, be mindful of that and use that as feedback for the next time you do that particular pose. So we'll come into Sphinx pose from here. You'll lift up onto your forearms like a Sphinx, targeting the lower back, so make sure that area is relaxed. Notice what you're feeling here. If you wanted a little bit more sensation, if you're not feeling much in this variation, you could try adjusting the angle of your head a little bit further back. If you want a little bit less, you could tilt your head down. You could also lift your forearms up onto blocks, or you could bring your feet up. So any of those are options to tweak your alignment. Feel free to experiment and notice the effect that the position of your body has. Noticing the effect of gravity, of your breathing, whatever else comes up, just being present with it. Lower your feet if you lift them up like me. And lower your chest. You can turn your elbows out to one side and turn your head to one side with your elbows out to the side and rest. And staying attentive here in the resting pose, noticing what's coming up for you here. Again, it would be normal to have some sensation from the pose if it was somewhat intense. For the next pose, we'll take open wing, targeting the shoulders. We'll start by opening your left arm out to the side. I've got my arm straight out, but you could try other angles, up or down a little bit. Always come into the pose slowly just to make sure that it's appropriate for you. Make sure your arm is relaxed, and then you start to roll to the left to bring some weight onto your shoulder. Go slow with this. You can bend your knees a little bit and stay balanced. You don't want any kind of electrical sensations or any sharp shooting pain here. Again, slightly uncomfortable is fine. If you want a little bit more than what you're feeling, you can try stepping your foot behind your back. Slowly come back onto your belly. Then you could bring your hands to the mat with your elbows out to the side and turn your head to one side and rest. Noticing what's present for you now. Now you can open your right arm out to the side. Pick an angle that works for you and come into the pose slowly. Step your foot behind your back if that's an appropriate option for you. Allowing your experience to unfold. Remaining interested and noticing the context of awareness. Now you can slowly come back onto your belly. Again, resting your head on your hands with your elbows out to the side. Bring your hands beside your chest and press yourself back into table position. You can move your hips a little bit right and left, or you can make circles. And you can lower your hips down into a child's pose. So what would it be like just to allow this moment to unfold? Just not to need to change anything about it. And you can notice that awareness already has that capacity, whether or not we're resisting things on a personal level. Come back to hands and knees, and you might choose to pad your knees for this one. We're going to take dragon pose, target into thighs. From hands and knees, step your right hand in towards your left a little to make room. Then step your right foot forward enough that your left hip comes forward of your knee some. Now you can have your palms to the mat. If your wrists are tired, you could also choose to make loose fists, or you could have block. Make sure that your legs are relaxed here because that's the target area. From here, if you want to come into a second variation, we can twist towards the knee. You could rest your forearm up on your thigh or your hand. If you wanted a deeper option, you could bring your back foot up to your hand. Just make sure that's appropriate for your body. You've always got permission to come out. That one's a little bit much for me today, so I'm going to go back to forearm. You can turn back to face your mat. Take your time coming out. So you can make as many stops along the way as you can, just walking back slowly. You might briefly fold over your leg. And then we can rest in either a kneeling position or a child's pose. Time for the second side. Come into a table position. This time step your left hand in towards the right below the leg rib. Step your left foot forward enough to bring your back knee forward of your hip to come into the pose. Pick your option, wrist, loose fist, or a block here. If you want to come into the second variation, you can come into a twist, twisting towards the knee. You could rest your forearm or hand there, or you could lift your back foot up into your hand if you like that option. Remaining present with your experience, however it's unfolding. With permission to adjust your posture if needed or come out. you can turn back towards your mat. Take your time coming out. Make as many stops along the way as you need to. Notice what it feels like if you're coming out. All right. If you want to stop and fold over your leg briefly, you can do that. And then we can rest in either a child's pose or a kneeling position. For our next posture, we'll do a seated fold. So it can help to sit on top of a folded blanket so that your pelvis tilts forward more naturally. So you might choose to do that. And you have two options where you can do either square pose or shoelace pose. So for square pose, it's just a cross-legged position. We'll start with right ankle in front of the left. We're targeting the hips with this fold, so the idea is you would just fold forward enough to bring sensation into your hips. A deeper option, if it's appropriate for your body, and you don't want any knee pain here, so make sure you come to a milder option if that happens, but a deeper option would be to stack your right shin on top of your left. That's another variation of square pose. Deeper than that would be shoelace pose, which is bringing your knees close towards being stacked. They don't have to be exactly stacked, but just that's the idea. So don't force it. Pick one of those three options. So again, square pose is either cross-legged, we're starting with right ankle in front of left, or you can stack your shins. Shoelace is with feet out to the side and your knees closer towards on top of each other. Then you just fold forward enough to notice some sensation in your hips, but nothing in your knee, or you should adjust your posture. You can either have the spine long, or you can let it round here. And if your body relaxes in the pose, feel free to settle a little deeper into it. Slowly walk back up to the seat. And we'll take seated swan pose in between. So you can uncross your legs so you'll have your feet to the mat and your knees bent up. And then you can lean back onto your hands. So we're targeting the arms here. You can pick different angles of your arms if you want. Targeting the shoulders. And if you wanted to add a little bit of weight, you could cross one ankle over the other. Okay, slowly come back off your arms. And we'll take the other side, either square or shoelace. So if you're taking square, you'll cross the left ankle in front of the right this time. You have the option to stack your shins. And for shoelace, your left leg is on top of the right. Make sure that your legs are relaxed and you don't have any knee pain as you come into this. Slowly walk back up to a seat. And we'll take seated swan here. So leaning back onto your hands and uncrossing your legs with your knees bent up. And if you wanted to add a little bit of weight, you could cross the other ankle over your thigh. And again, you can experiment with different angles of your arms in this pose. Okay, slowly coming out. And we'll do dragonfly pose for our next one. I'm going to turn to the side just so I've got room. But if you have room, you don't need to do that. And I'm going to have a couple blocks handy. So for this pose, it's another forward fold, but we'll open our legs out to a straddle. It doesn't have to be your widest possible, just wide enough. Targeting the backs of the legs, maybe a little the inner legs. Make sure your legs are relaxed and then start to fold forward. Stop at that first edge. Then if your body relaxes, you might settle a little bit deeper into the pose. the seat. It might feel good to lean back on your hands, slide your feet in, and then sway your knees from side to side a few times. From there, you can lower down into your back. Staying attentive here in the resting pose and seeing what you notice. We'll take banana pose next. So to start, step your feet into the mat. Then slide your hips over to the right a little bit. Extend both of your legs out to the left. You might choose to cross your ankles. Either way, maybe experiment and find which way works better for you. So you should feel something in the side of your leg here, maybe into the side of your chest. And if you want to bring the upper body into it, you can use your elbows to slide your shoulders over to the left, bringing yourself into more of a crescent type shape. And you could also, if you wanted, add your arms in, grabbing hold of your right wrist and pulling it over a little to the left, then making sure that you're relaxed. Come back out the same way you came in, so you can bring your elbows by your chest, Slide back in, uncrossing your ankles if you crossed and coming back to center. And I'm going to step my feet in to the mat as I rest and let my knees fall together, but however you want to do it is okay. All right, so if you're not already in this position, come to where your knees are bent up and your feet to the mat. And we'll take the second side. You'll slide your hips over a little to the left. I'm going to scoot my whole body over because I'm close to a wall. But slide your hips over. Then you can extend your legs to the right. You can cross your ankles if you want, either way. Press your elbows down to slide your chest over to the right to complete the shape. Make sure you're at an appropriate depth, so make sure you can relax into it. And if you wanted to add the arms in, you could drag your left hand over to the right some. Now you can bring your elbows back beside your chest and slide back to center, uncrossing your legs and centering your hips. And I'll rest with my knees bent up, however you want to is fine. From here, you can, if you've got your knees bent up, straighten out your left leg. Bring your right knee into your hands and have a block in your left hand, set it down for your knee. Then roll to your left side to bring your knee onto your block. We'll take a reclining twist here. So you might not need the block. From here, you roll your shoulder open in and out. You can extend your arm if that's a comfortable option for you. Slowly come back onto your side. Make sure your back is relaxed, and then roll all the way into your back to rest. Okay. With both knees bent up to the mat, bent up from the mat, have your have a block on your right side for your knee. Straighten out your right leg. Take your left knee into your hand and then roll onto your side to bring it onto your block. From there, you can open your shoulder to come into the twist, extending your arm if you like that option. You can come slowly onto your side. making sure that your back is relaxed, and then rolling under your back to rest. Noticing what's coming up here. Now, before we come into our final rest of the practice, you might take your knees into your hands and gently roll side to side, massaging your hips and your spine. Maybe you want to add a little bit of forward and back motion. And then when you're ready, you can straighten out your legs and rest. And I'm using a blanket here. This would be a good time to grab one if you have it, because your body does tend to get cold when you've been practicing yin yoga. Staying alert here, so treating this just like the meditation that we did at the beginning, noticing what's coming up, the various different parts of your experience, like thoughts, sensations, emotions, sounds, or sights. Just noticing that process of change moment to moment. Within the context of awareness. toes or move your ankles side to side a little bit. However you want to move to get yourself ready to come up to the seat in your own time. Thank you for practicing with me.